Now we'll just press the mode button. That gets into the playback mode, and you flip between the different files you've created by pressing left and right and OK to play those if you wanted to. Press the mode button again and it's back into record mode. There's only the two modes, there's no photo mode or anything daft like that. Now if you press the OK button, you can flip between the two different camera views and have those full screen if you want, or keep them split like this. It does stretch them, so it's best just to keep the two camera modes on the screen. In the setup menus, we'll just go through these quickly. I'm going to go right down and then back to the beginning just to show you what's there. There's no more options than this. It's a very simple camera, this really. There's very little that you can do with it. One of the things you can do is have it record either the front, the back or both cameras together. You can set up the time, you can format the card. You can see all these different options on the screen here. They're all pretty much self-explanatory. The LCD default basically turns the screen on or off. The G sensor or G-force sensor can be set to low, normal, high or off. Now people that have had this in other cameras have sometimes mentioned that the potholes in the road can set off this function. This stops the current file being overridden if the camera is involved in a bump, so the option to turn it off is quite useful. Now the other things on the screen here, I think you've seen them all before, there's nothing special going on there. There's no motion detection in this camera. Now the other thing is at the top right of the screen here, you'll see when I press the power button, it selects between those two different squares and that shows you which is being recorded. You've also got the battery life and the time and date at the bottom here. Now if we set it recording here and just do a little bit of a test recording, you can see it says record at the top left there. And I'll press the button to stop it recording, and then we'll go back into the playback mode, and then we'll play that back by pressing the OK button at the left here, and now this is the file being played back that we've just recorded. Just to demonstrate what it kind of looks like really. So it's just behind this flap on the end of the camera here, and in there you've got your micro SD, your USB and the plug for the GPS. Now we'll just get that micro SD out. You see it's a little bit fiddly just pulling that out of there, but as I mentioned before, I'm using a class 10 card. We'll plug in the GPS antenna here into the little socket if I can do it properly. And there you go, it pops in there like that. And now we'll plug in the card 12 volt power adapter. So we'll just get the standard USB mini B lead here and just plug that into that end there. And now you can see what the thing actually looks like when it's properly wired up. If you want to get the files off the camera, what you have to do is eject the micro SD card and put that into some sort of card reader and then pop that into your computer. Well, it shows up as an additional drive, and if you double click on that drive, you'll find there's no video file showing on there at all. The only thing that does appear is this piece of software called JPlayer. Now, much in the same way that an iPod relies upon iTunes to be able to get files on or off it, this car camera relies upon JPlayer to be able to access the video files that you've recorded and you've stored on that memory card. So let's have a look at JPlayer. Now JPlayer only works on a PC. I'm using it on this Atom PC, which is pretty underpowered, so that means I can't run a screen capture program the same time as the software, so you'll have to bear with the kind of rather grainy footage from my camera pointing at the screen here. But we'll try and show you around the screen. At the right hand side bottom right here are all the files that are on that memory card that it wouldn't let me look at before. You'll see it pulls the map data through on the top right through the internet from Google Maps. Across the bottom here you've got transport keys that enable you to play and pause the video. And as I mentioned, I am on an Atom PC and it's playing really nice and smooth, which is quite impressive. It must be a pretty decent piece of software, this. And you can see the map on the right hand side following my journey down the road. Across the top of the screen here, you've got the coordinates for the GPS as well as the speed, which you can swap between miles per hour and kilometers per hour. And across the top right there, you can also select which camera view you're going to be looking at on the screen from the two different cameras, or having them side by side like that. Below that you've got that G-force indicator thing, which shows the kind of forces acting upon the car at that particular moment in time. We can adjust the volume at the bottom of the screen here, and we can also play the files at a different speed, at fast forward and reverse, and again runs really quite smoothly on such a low powered PC as this Revo 3600 that I'm running it on at the moment. So you don't need to worry about your computer not being able to run this, I don't think. You'll see the map at the top right there, still following me along. That does require a constant internet connection. You can flip the video footage at the bottom here in case you have the camera mounted the other way up. Now one thing I'm going to show you is the gap between files, because people are always interested in this. So we'll move it to the end and press play, and there you go, it's jumped to the next file. There's no gap at all. I'll just demonstrate that again. So what we'll do, we'll pause it and pull the file right up to the end of one recording, which are about 2.5 minutes each, and we'll just watch it jump over into the next one, and there's no jump, there's no gap, there's no sort of pop on the soundtrack at all. It's just completely smooth. Now the next thing that you might want to do is export these files. So if you click on the menu at the bottom left, you can choose which ones you want to export out of this piece of software. This is the only way you'll get the video footage out of it, and it's how I used the footage earlier on in the video. You can click the different files you want to export and click where you want to save them to, and you'll see this bar moving across the middle of the screen here with a percentage mark there. I'll just move forward in time so you can see what happens when we get to the end. And what it does then is it saves all those files wherever you chose to save them as one AVI file, which then I'm going to demonstrate now by just double clicking and pressing play on. And you'll see I've got that video file all as one double screen image, running nice and smooth as an AVI file. So that's how you get the files off the camera if you wanted to do that.